Hello everyone, welcome to another session in Golang. In this session, we'll understand how we can manage the dependencies in Go. What is a go.mod? Why go.mod is required? What are the different commands around go.mod? And what is a go.mod and go.sum file in Go and why they are used? And finally, we'll understand what is a go.mod vendor file. So let's first understand what is a go.mod. So go.mod is the root for the dependency management in Golang. So basically, we manage the dependencies across the project using go.mod file or using the go.mod. All the modules which are needed or to be used in the projects are maintained in the go.mod file. For all the packages we are going to use import in our project, it will create an entry of those in the go.mod file. Now, how we can make use of go.mod file? So simply, if you look into my window here, you can see there is a project with the name of demo and there is a hello.go file inside it. Now, if I want to create a go.mod file for you here, and if I want to use Go modules for it is, I'll write a command called go mod init and the name of the project. So it can be anything, but generally everyone follows the practice of using the name of the module to be same as what the name of the project folder is. It is demo, so I have done given here is demo. Now, as soon as I'll press enter, you see here it has automatically created a go.mod file for me. Now let's go inside the go.mod file and understand what this go.mod file says. Okay, it says module demo in line number 1. That means this module name is demo, and now if I want to use this module as a third-party library in any other module or in any other package, I just have to import the demo into it, and then I'll be able to use the packages or the methods inside this module. Now, the line number 3, it says this module has been built using Go version 1.1.6. Right now, this is all about the go.mod file. And now let me show you how this go.mod files automatically modifies itself as I used to add third-party dependencies in my projects. So let me come to hello.go. And in this project, what I will do is I will, let me comment this part for you first here. And I will say import and this one package I am importing. This is another package. There's a package called Pobman UUID. So this package does nothing, but this package creates a UUID in Golang. And what I'm doing is I'm using a method called new random UUID that basically creates a random UUID for me. So now this package, I have used this third-party package, and I'm just importing this package, making use of this package method, and then finally printing the output to you. Now let me save this program. Now if I try to run this program, you see it says no required module provide the package this. And the reason for this is because though I have used this package, but I have not installed this package in my local or in my project. Now to install a package or a third-party dependencies, there are two ways to it. One is a go get command, and the other one is a go mod tidy command. Now what this go get command is, if you see here, it says go get, then name of the module, at the rate, and then the version of the module. So this will install this module in my local. And as soon as I'll install this module in my local with the go get command, it will modify but with my go mod file as well, where it will mention that this module, this version is a dependency in my project. Now there is another way using go mod tidy. Now what it does it, now there is a dependency or there is a constraint with GoGet. With GoGet, we can only install one module at a time. Now there is another command called go mod tidy. Now what this command is, this command also installs all the third-party dependencies, but the difference is it will install the third-party dependencies across the project. Say, for example, in my project, I have 10 files, and within each and every file, I have 10 dependencies defined. So as soon as I'll fire go mod tidy inside the module, so what it will do is it will traverse each and every file within my project, identify all the dependencies, and it will install all the dependencies in one go and modifies the go.mod file with an entry for each and every dependency. So let me here fire go mod tidy. So what it will do is it will go inside hello.go. It will identify this as a dependency and it will install it for me. You see, it says funding module name and it is installed. Now, Once I have fired go.mod tidy, you can see in the left panel. So now I have one more file here. It says go.sum. Now what this command is, right? What this go.sum file is. So, but just before that, let's understand how it has modified the go.mod file. You see, now this go.mod file is modified. It has added this as a dependency for this module. Now, what this line is saying is, this line is saying that this problem UUID version 1.2.1 is required by the module demo. So this is required to be installed first before we can make use of module demo, or before we can compile the module demo in our local. Now let's come to go.sum file. Now go.sum file is the file that validates the checksum on each and every dependencies to verify that none of the dependencies is modified. And in case it is modified, then before pulling, it will match the checksum and will only pull the dependencies that will make the checksum here. Now, there are two things that this go.sum file does it. Now, the first thing is this dependency pborman and UUID that I have used in my project. So it will check if there are any third-party dependencies on which this binary is dependent on. If there are those, it will keep an entry of those in the go.mod along with the version and along with the checksum. Now, this checksum is used equivalent and equivalent to the checksum of the commit. So, for example, under the same version, I can have multiple commits, and each commit will have a independent or a unique checksum associated with it, right? Now, by default, when we pull a version, it will it will always pull the latest checksum for us. But what if I need the very first checksum that I have used in my project 2 months before, right? So for that, Go will validate the checksum, because what it is doing is whenever I'm pulling the version, the checksum associated with that version, Go is mentioning this in the go.sum file. And whenever I'll pull it again, it will first validate the checksum. And if the checksum matches, then only it will pull it, else it will not. So this, look at the depth to which Go developers has taken care of it, right? So this is all about the go.mod file and go.sum file. Now, in terms of dependencies, Go has two types of dependencies. One dependency is called a direct dependency, and the other one is called an indirect dependency. Now, the example here, the current example here, where we have used pborman UUID, this is a direct dependency. Now, what a direct dependency are? If the dependencies are properly mentioned in the go mod file of the third party, and these are directly used in the code, then where we say that this is a direct dependency. Now the third part, indirect dependencies, are the opposite of it, right? Either the dependencies are not directly used, or they do not have their go.mod file, right? So for indirect dependency, let me give you an example. Suppose we are using a third-party dependency library called A that is dependent on B, and now B is dependent on C, right? Now this B becomes the indirect dependency. This C actually becomes the indirect dependencies for project A. Why? Because we are not directly C inside the project, but we are using B, and B has a dependency on C. If this type of indirectly dependencies are there in our project, so what go.mod does is it makes an entry of those dependencies as well in our go.mod file, but with a comment like this, indirect. It mentions that these are the indirect dependencies. So let me show you by using an example. If I'll go to my hello.go program back, now there is a binary, or there is a library called go callie. I'll show you using this library here. So now this is the method. Okay, so basically the purpose here is not to explain what this go callie is. The purpose here is to explain the indirect dependency. You just understand here it is that we are just making use of one more third-party dependencies that has indirect dependencies associated with it. Now, I have made use of this, imported this go callie. I have made use of this method, and I'm printing the output of this callie method here. Now, let me try to run the program for you here. Okay, so it is giving me an error because this dependencies, even though I'm importing this in my program, but I have not installed it, right? Now to install it, what I will do, similar to how I have done before, I'll say go mod, I'll say tidy, I'll press enter. Now, what it will do is it will install everything related to this Collie library for me. Now, let's see. If I'll go to go.mod file, you see, there are a lot of things related to this. Now, this is my previous UUID file that I've installed previous to Collie. This is my Collie file, and these are the indirect dependencies. That means Collie is dependent on all these files binaries, but I am not directly dependent. So if I am using Collie package and Collie is dependent on Go query or HTML query or XML query package, that means I am also indirectly dependent on those packages. So this is what Go does to specify that, okay, these are the indirect dependencies on my package. Now, let me also tell you what additional we can do here. So once, if I have installed any of the package version and that package version has an entry in my go.mod file, say for example of this pborman/uuid, now I'm using the version 1.2.1, but there is a need that I need to update this version, right, back to say some previous version, or I need to update this version to some specific version. Now what I need to do is I can make use of get command. So basically we can manually modify or we can automatically modify the go mod file by using the commands. And this is possible and this is achievable in Go to handle different scenarios that we will have. So let me show you here. What I can do is I'll say go get, and suppose for this UUID, I want to fetch version 1.2.0, not this, right? So what I will do is go get this at the rate 1.2.0. Now let's see what happens when I'll fire this command. Now it has started downloading it, it has done. And now let's see what happens with it. Now you see Foreman, UUID. Oh, okay. There's one thing I have to mention V here. That's what I'm not done because it says unknown version. You see here, this is automatically updated to v1.0.1.2.0. Now, if I want to put it back to 1.1, you see, it has automatically updated. So if I update the version of my binary manually, though I do not have to take care of it in my go mod file or in my go.sum file, everything will be managed automatically for me, right? Now, this is one another example. Now let's come to a command called go mod vendor. Now, what this command specify? Now, sometimes in our company's infrastructure, we cannot download the packages on the fly from the internet, right? So, say for example, I want to install my application to any my company infrastructure. Now, that infrastructure layer does not allow downloading the packages from the internet, right? So, what I will do in this case? So, in this case, we can make use of go mod vendor command. Now, what this vendor command does it will copy over all the third-party dependencies binary and it will include those binary as part of your package or as part of your project it will have, and then you can refer to the local references of those binary in your packages rather than referring the installed versions of it. Now let me tell you programmatically of what I meant by that. Now here we can see that we are using two packages. One is a Collie, the other one is a UUID. Now, but when I use these packages, these are actually installed in my Go runtime, but these are not part of my actual project, right? So whatever I'm using is I'm using their binary from the uh, bin folder, but I'm not included these binaries in my local here, right? Now, what if my country infrastructure does not allow installing the packages on the fly from internet when I want to install this or run this program in my country infrastructure layer. So what I will do in that case is I'll say go mod vendor, I'll fire this command. Now you see what it has done is it has created a folder called vendor. Inside that folder, it has created github.com. Inside that, it has installed all the binaries or all the dependencies related to this. So basically this command has bring all the things that I require to run these binaries from their GitHub into my local inside the vendor folder, right? You see, this is pborman, and pborman has a UUID. Now this is pborman UID. Others are dependencies around it. Now this is go collie, and then the collie inside it. This is go collie, and these are all the other dependencies on which they are dependent upon. Now, once I have done this, I can modify my go mod file, right? So currently it says bring this from github.com, copy it to the local, install it as a binary, and I will use it, right? Instead of mentioning the whole path of the GitHub here, I will mention the local paths of this binary like this. Say, for example, I will say it is slash vendor slash this one and then go query. This is how I will mention it and I will run my program. So this is one of the use of the go.mod.vendor command. So this is all about the go.mod. And this is how we can use and we can manage the dependencies using go.mod in our command. Thank you very much, guys. Do like, subscribe, or comment if you like my videos.